Welcome to this week's episode of Art Wisdom with Chris and Kat. And this week we've got another question that we're answering, and this one's from Lacey. It says, are there creative ways to market your art, connect with your audience without being on camera?
Oof, it's
Yes,
a great topic.
it
A
is.
lot of people, because here's the thing, a lot of people don't want to show their faces because now I know, because I know Lacey, so I know that she actually does a lot of on camera, talking to camera and that kind of stuff. So it would be interesting. And I think for me, half of me is like, just get on camera. But I've also had times where I've not wanted to, I've got like a big cold sore on my face, or do you know what I mean? Some days I woke up and I just look like I've been dragged through several bushes backwards. So I can kind of understand.
Just not there, is it? And you think
It's the
you
energy
just
thing.
want to do your thing. I think as artists as well, we're very uh introvert, not extrovert, we're introverts. Most people are introvert, not yourself.
Can't relate. Can't relate.
Can't relate, yeah. But most artists are introverts. They're like happily doing their own thing, so the camera thing is not a fab for them. I was good to hear that Lacey does it, because when I heard the question, my big thing was, well, first of all, it's really good to be able to get over that if you do have a fear of being on camera. Just
I think
over that.
I do know for her though in particular, and as for me, and I think as for most women online, is that you put a video up and then you have to deal with a bunch of people commenting on your appearance, to like every detail of you. Too big, too small, your nose is too big for me anyway. And they'll say a bunch of awful things. So I think that that's also something that can make people not want to necessarily be on camera. But I would say that the truth is that building, so that if the question is like how to connect, there is the most deepest connection when you see someone's face. Just human nature.
Yeah.
But
because you just pick up if you like them as well. And I think a lot of art as well, like you said last week, like a lot of people just buy from you because they like you as well, but
don't
then
know why.
but we all do that actually. If we go into a
Yeah.
shop and we've got somebody who's serving us and we get that, oh gosh, we don't like them, or picking up or just the rude.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much personally I want what they've got, I will try and find it somewhere else before I give them the sale. And suppose art's the same, isn't it? So if you're connecting with your audience, it's such an easy way, if you are easy on camera, to get that connection.
Yeah, but I also appreciate there are times when it's hard. And I mean, in particular, there'll be times when, there've been times that I've not been able to get on camera, but it's like, one, it might be like I'm traveling, and not always, but sometimes, in particular when I'm on my own, I don't want people to know where I'm at. So I have to use like the whole
security thing.
Yeah, like a security thing. So the whole like fake backdrops and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
That's one aspect of it. And then I think, there's a lot of sort of things a little bit like that. But then also there's times when I get cold sores and I find it so embarrassing. And I know it's like so many people get them.
Yeah.
But I still don't want to be on camera with it on my face, like, I don't know. I'm like, I try and cover it up and you can't. So
you probably want to use those things for other people, only because like Kelsey in particular, they feel like they're out here, don't they?
They do, but it's weird because I don't think other people notice. I think it's just like an internal thing. I notice. I'm like, you look at a video and that's all you can see. Or like for me now, if I've not dyed my hair and I've got a bunch of grays coming out and I'm like, oh, someone's
dyed your hair.
Oh, really? Yes. I started going grey when I was 18. I got my first grey hair. That was a while back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are times. And then also I think when I'm traveling, if I don't have good lighting, so I can appreciate a lot of reasons why not to. But also I think there's no better way to connect than having your face there. And the problem is that it's weighing up the downside and the upside. But outside of that, the spoken voice is the second most important way to connect, and that's why we do a podcast. And like, obviously, if anyone's listening to this on Facebook or on YouTube, they'll be able to see our gorgeous faces. But if they're not, I mean, if they're listening to it on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or all the other places that we stream to, you know, it's just our voices. And actually, you can build up such a deep level of connection with someone with just their voice.
Yeah. Think of it like how many things that we listen to on podcasts. You do feel a connection, don't you, to people?
Oh, you're having a chat with your mate.
Yeah.
Usually while you're driving. Like, and if you think about it, if you drive in the car, because I think that's where a lot of people listen to them. You're never really staring at your friends in the passenger seat, or if you are and you're driving, look at the road. You know, I mean, don't crash, jeez. Swerving around there. So I think that if you like, but also I think that if you want to create deep connections to people, different platforms are more suitable for that. Long form videos, whether it's YouTube or whether it's long form videos on Facebook or long form podcasts.
Yeah.
It's so much different. Like, if I think about how much I know someone whose podcast I listen to regularly versus someone that I might see on TikTok for 15 seconds, and I might see maybe 2 or 3 videos a week, but ultimately I might be sitting with them max a minute. Whereas if I think about some of the podcasts I listen to, I'm sitting with that person for like 30, 40 minutes. And that makes, I mean, if you think about the amount of connection you can build with that time, you know, physical time is like probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah. You feel like you do get to know people like that, don't you? I'm listening to a lot of Mel Robbins. I don't know if you've listened to her things.
I love her. Oh my God.
Great, isn't she? She's great. But you know, she just, and I suppose most people are good at podcasts. They just talk, they're just themselves. So it's like, I feel like if I met Mel Robbins, I'm just meeting somebody that I'm listening to on the podcast. So I do feel like, you know, it would be an easy transition. And I suppose that's what connection is, isn't it? You know.
That's true. So obviously your face and your voice are probably the two most, because like ultimately when you're marketing your art, the art is just an extension of you and your personality. I think I said this on another podcast, I can't remember which one, but someone told me every piece of art is a self-portrait. It's a portrait of your interests, of your curiosities, of the portrait of the things that you want to create. It's all part of you. It's your expression. It's a portrait of your expression in some way. So actually, you know, and I've seen a lot of people online, and I never see it happen to me. Trying to be fashion people now, but they'll be like, oh God, why is that artist standing next to their artwork? You know, and it's like, well, a big portion of what the art is the artist. It's like an expression of their, you know, curiosity and love and all that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
people want to see the person behind it, don't they? I definitely do. I'm curious, and what do they look like? What are, you know, like artists as well? What are they wearing? What do they do when they're doing their art? I'm curious. People are curious.
Yeah, whenever I do time lapses of me painting and my face is in there, God, I got a real like I don't naturally have a resting bitch face, but when I paint, oh my God, I'm like, every time. I know everyone listening can't see that, but I just put a funny face. But I do, yeah. So, but as far as marketing your art, like, honestly, I think there are so many creative ways to market your art. And actually, you don't always need to create the content for it. And I know for Lacey, she's just started to do prints, which she's releasing soon. And they're beautiful. Oh my gosh. But you know, I was giving some of my prints to either friends and family, or they were buying them or whatever, and you know, influencers, I suppose, and they would make little videos for me. So that was a really nice way of not using my face, but using, you know, sometimes other people will want to do that for you if it's something you're super, you know, that you don't want to do in that particular case.
Yeah. I'm sort of like, find what you like to do. So if you do like teaching it, if you do like doing tutorials, then YouTube would be the way for you to go. You don't even have to, you don't want to be on camera for it. You can just be doing the
yeah.
painting.
Yeah, you can just have a close-ups and top downs or time lapses of just the canvas and your hands. And I mean, that's amazing in itself. And even so, you can even put a voiceover over it, and
Yeah.
that will create such a deeper level of connection with an audience because they get to hear your internal monologue, whatever that might be. And I think that's quite lovely. So there's that as an option. That's an awesome suggestion, Chris. And yeah, and I think like if you're selling artwork, like there are so many, like if I think about when I'm selling artwork, I'm most of the time, or at least 50% of the time, I'm not in frame. It's like the artwork on a wall. It's the artwork in situ. It's sometimes they'll have videos of artwork being packed or prepared, or, you know, and those are often like not necessarily like talking to camera like we're doing now, but it might be like, you know, you just see your hands doing stuff, and that's quite cool as well. And there's a lot, honestly, to even just really simple videos of, you know, you've set up a nice scene, whatever that might be, like in my case, I was doing those big mouse pad, desk pad things. So, you know, I'd set up a nice scene with a desk and a computer and a little pot plant in the corner or whatever. And then just a very simple like pan video that you can use music in the background. It just demonstrates the product in situ. They're so good. I mean, because actually, like, of course, people will need to connect with you as a person. But if you're like just marketing a specific product for a launch, like you've got to use like, you know, I would say that there's different phases, right? So when you're coming up to a launch, you're going to be doing more product specific things. And when you're not in a specific launch, you're going to be doing more connection based things. So if I think about how I run my marketing, you know, I spend a lot more time just talking to camera and getting to know people and just, you know, just being me when it's not in the run up to the campaigns. You know, it's showing all the bits and bobs of what I'm up to. But then during the campaigns, there'll probably be more like I mean, it's a mix. I'll still be talking and telling people what it is and why I love it and why I'm excited. But, you know, a lot of it will be just a picture of the artwork in situ, or, you know, I personally think that having your face in there is just the most powerful thing you can do as an artist. It's, yeah, obviously there's just different phases when it comes to like product release and so on. And Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this in his book, Jab, 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 Hook, right? And it's about that while you're not offering things for sale, it's all about giving and giving and giving and giving. And it's about creating those deep connections. And it's like when you're up to a sale, that's the time to do the right hook kind of thing. So the idea is that you spend most of your time giving, and in that is building the connection. The doing all of that at the point of sale is very hard, you know. So I tend to like, you know, I think about it slightly differently when I'm coming up to a launch. Yeah, and I'll post things.
A lot of the time is connection. I suppose that's Lacey's question as well. Like, how more can you do it? And like, it is what we've just talked about there, but we've talked about as well when we talked about marketing in the marketing podcast, about connecting with other people. As you'd say, it's a social media, so be social on it. And for me, I'm thinking it's your interests again. So what are your interests? If your interests like your space, or it might be landscape, like landscape photography, or interior design. I love interior design. So it's connecting with like-minded people. So it's also so that you find it easy, isn't it? So you find it easy, so, and it's authentic, that you connect with people that you would want to connect with, even if you didn't do your art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So yeah, and one of the things I was going to say is it's just deeply rebellious to put yourself out there all the time, and especially in the face of, you know, because I know like a lot of people get mean comments, or there is stuff going on that makes people not want to put themselves out, because actually ultimately that's most of the reason people are like, what happens if they don't like me? What happens if they say something mean? What happens if, you know, all those kind of things. And I think just going out there and still putting yourself out there is so deeply, deeply rebellious against all of that. And I'm all about it. But I do know there's times when you're just too tired for that. You're just like,
Well,
want to be hermit.
Mel Robbins has her 5 seconds of brave or something like that. So it is just like, I think count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just do it. You know,
I
because
like
sometimes
that.
we don't want to put a post, say like there is a influencer that we want to connect with, and you've got all this conversation going on in your head of like why you're not going to do it, or that's not a good idea, or you know, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, send that message, it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
scary. It can be scary.
that is true. Yeah. But I do think like outside of, outside of just doing like, you know, artwork in situ and close-ups and time lapses, which could account for a lot, and creating those deep connections using a voiceover rather than your face, which to be honest is good, because like the whole point of view thing as well, you know, I've seen people with like the camera mounted to their chest and they're painting, that you can see their 2 arms going. It's super cool, right? It's awesome. They can experience things from your perspective for a little bit, and I think that's lovely. But yeah, there is an opportunity to connect to people, you know, using the help of friends and family, or maybe people in the community who will create and market your art without your face in it. So, you know, they might just, you know, and it might just be like, sometimes it's, you know, for me, I did a project with Sophia Gadnasa, and like we were marketing it, but it was done through Twitter. So it was our conversation thread between us. It's like, hey, I need this something doing, I need some support, and me coming back and saying I'm going to do it. And so that was actually part of the marketing, and it was amazing. Like it was all obviously just happened naturally as it goes, but sometimes that is it. Sometimes marketing your work through you know, sharing it with people in the community, especially people who have really good followings, and then having active conversations with them, like, hey, what's your favorite bit about this? What do you think I should do next? You know, if they engage in any way, shape, or form, having that actual active conversation below the piece, you know, is incredible. And the reason being is because, you know, when you've got 2 people talking between each other, everyone that's in their friends is also seeing that conversation, because it's showing up in their news feeds as well. It doesn't work like that, obviously, on lots of different networks. You know, it doesn't work like that on Instagram as such, but on Twitter it does. So, you know, that's a really good way to like have your personality get the connection with your audience without necessarily being like face forward. Yeah. But still, I think the truth is that there are lots of really good options that we've mentioned, but the truth is that having your face is the most effective manner. And it's why you'll see faces in advertisements all the time, everywhere. And how sometimes it feels like advertisements without faces are a little soulless at times, you know. So like, even if you think about Apple, and like it was like the Apple Music stuff, like most of their stuff is very slick and sheen, but when it comes to Apple Music, it's always the person dancing with the iPod, you know, and you can just see like the cable. So it's like, I think the idea of like having human interaction is, you know, as important as you can, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, anything else you want to add, Chris?
No, maybe it's just a mix. If you know, be easy on yourself. If you don't feel like doing camera stuff, then you just mix it up with other things.
Yeah,
have a
sure.
strategy in place of like, you do so much of, you know, chatting to people online, so much maybe YouTube or Facebook with your videos of actually making the work. Have a little, you know, maybe a handful of things that you can go, this is what I've, you know, I can do today. Because it's just about doing something most of the time.
Right. But yeah, honestly, I think even starting your own podcast for the things that you love is a great opportunity to promote your artwork without necessarily having your face out there. That's an amazing way to create really deep connections. So why are we here? But also because we want to help.
It's fun. We find that doing the podcast
It's so much
fun. So, you know, it's easy to do. It's easy for us to do. It's not a hard task. And that's what, you know, finding those things that are easy for you to do. Oh, gold.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny, like, even if I think about like things like just doing voiceover stuff, even on Instagram, sometimes I'll do a video where I'm talking to camera and I'm like, not vibing.
Yeah.
But so I'll just cover it with a picture. There's like a button where you can add an image. So I'll add an image of the artwork.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's like, I'll do like what is effectively like a green screen with a video that I've already taken of the artwork. And then I'll just lay it on the bed so that the camera is covered. So no, like, you know, and I'll just talk into it and I'll talk about what I'm seeing on the camera. And it's amazing. Even that in itself is such a good way to create connection without being on camera as well. But yeah,
love it.
But for anyone that is listening, if you're not being on camera just because you're feeling shy and there's no other reason, I just implore you to get on camera. There's just nothing as effective as it.
And it's same as anything. As soon as you've done it a little while, it's easy. It's nothing. It's just practice. Yeah.
Like the first, I think, like honestly, because I remember starting doing stories and talking to my phone, and oh god, I felt like a total idiot.
Same thing, right? Don't you?
Like, ages. Oh my god. Oh, and every time I listened back, I was like, my voice.
Yeah,
Sounds different.
That's a really funny thing, actually, because I'd listen back to my voice and think, oh gosh, that's not me. And now I listen back to my voice, and my voice is very familiar to me. You know,
it's
so it's like, that's very odd.
But at the beginning, and even worse if it was my face and my voice, I'd be like, but you get over it, you know, you really do. And it's just the beginning bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, you know, you can now add like voice memos to Twitter, and I've started doing that. I've done it a bunch of times, and they're so effective because not really anybody's doing it. So everyone's like, oh, what's she saying? Give it a click, and then you get to listen to your rambles, whatever it is. Hopefully you've got something meaningful and useful for them to listen to. But awesome, it works really well. So all right, now for the top 3 things. Do you want to go first, Chris?
Well, my first one was, we've covered it just then, really, practice on camera. Practice, because you'll be fine after a bit. Just have to get over that initial hurdle to do it. You know, it's not an issue, but I get that people still find it a challenge to do, and a challenge to put your video out there so people actually see what you're doing. But that's what we have to do. We have to be visual. You know, we have to let people know that this is what we're doing. Otherwise, we're never going to sell anything. So
true.
Number 2, be descriptive about your artwork, stories about your artwork. Tell people why you've done it, what it means to you. You know, were you on your travels? Connect that connection through what you write. It doesn't have to be like, well, to be honest, I don't find the great big long messages that people put in. I don't read them. I look at great big long texts before pictures, and for me, that's way too much, and I skip that and then just go to the image. But
unless it's written so well that it's like, but rarely does that happen.
So, you know, that's all you need is a few lines. So it's really good getting good at that. So we had our sales podcast where Martin E came on and spoke to us all about stories. So that was absolute gold. So that was the sales podcast with Martin. And number 3, find out what interests you. So, interests us, do the podcast. It's heaps of fun. Can't wait to do
love it.
So, it's not another task to think that we have to do that. So if you like doing tutorials, like doing tutorials, do tutorials. If you like writing, if you're good at writing, do that.
Yeah.
So find out what floats your boat. Like, I think you love connecting and talking to people and, making contact. So that's like super easy for you to do.
Oh, yeah.
And you love it. So it's like, just find your thing that you love. And it won't be a marketing exercise then. It'll just be connecting. It'll just be what you look forward to doing.
Right.
That's
I love that.
3.
My top 3, number 1 is just using your voice. Voiceovers are the next best thing to using your face being the best thing you could use, but using your voice is the second best thing you can do. And again, the context of it could be a voice memo. It could be, you could just be showing a video on an Instagram story and talking over it or whatever it is. But using your voice, so good. Number 2 is like just time lapses, and doing art stuff doesn't necessarily have to include your face. They could be just showing the palette, showing the painting, or showing the product. Now it gets people to, and actually you need to have a little bit of each for it to really work. You don't want to be sitting in front of a camera every single time anyway. In the same way that you don't want to be doing only just podcasts or only this specific thing. You want to have a little mix of everything, because a lot of it's going to be about your art and about, watching the paint smush together and all whatever it is, So there's a lot of opportunity to do time lapses. It's not going to necessarily build deep connections, but the truth is that people fall in love with artwork, and it takes time, and they might need to see that artwork 30 times, before they make the decision to purchase. And honestly, that's often how many times they need to see it. So showing it in progress, or showing the finishing touches, or even just showing close-ups of whatever it is, amazing. And my 3rd one is in situ. If you can get your actual painting on an actual wall, even better. Or if it's a print in a frame, or if it's, you can film it. Like, sometimes I don't have an opportunity to get things printed. I've had to make a small amendment or whatever, and I've not got the print. I will literally show it on my laptop screen, and I will film the laptop screen. There's an amazing app. I love it. It's called Place It, and it allows you to create really quick mock-ups, and you can put your artwork in loads of different frames. I've tried lots of different ones, and this one's amazing because it doesn't just do art on walls. It could be like your art on a throw rug, your art on a desk mat, your art on whatever it is. It'll do all the different things and create all the different mock-ups for you, which is actually super helpful if you're like, oh, I wonder what a shower curtain would look like with my artwork, or whatever it is. You can just go on there and I think there's probably a trial, or it allows you to download a watermarked version, and then if you want it, you can pay for a whatever subscription. But in my mind, having done a store, it is invaluable, because the amount of times I spend in Photoshop creating those mock-ups, because the default ones are a bit rubbish almost always, and those are really important. So highly recommend that. So in situ, and the beautiful thing is that, and if I could add in a 4th bonus one, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be your, you can create connection, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be you, but it could be your artwork and someone who cares about you, or someone that's in the community, or someone that's in a parallel kind of, like, so for instance, space news, or someone that's into, because Lacey's a space artist, or it could be someone that does astrophotography, or it could even be another space artist. I'll talk about your artwork. Give it to me. I'll even buy it. and promote it. But, you know, that's what a lot, if you think about what a lot of top brands do, they want to, you know, people want to see those products with people that they, you know, trust or whatever. And that really helps build that connection of like, this product is great product. And of course, doing it with reputable people that aren't going to lie, because obviously you wouldn't want that. But yeah, so those are my top things. Anything else, Chris, you want to add?
I'll just mention the in situ app that I use, which I absolutely love. It's Canya, and you can put frames round things, resize them, different kinds of frames. They have all the rooms. I think it's brilliant.
Oh, love that. Love that. That's it. And honestly, that can be your promotion. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, and as I said, if you don't even have that, literally just show it on your laptop screen and take a photograph of it. Obviously, sometimes you get weird interlacing, so you have to just find the right settings on your phone and the zoom lens and all that jazz to make sure that it's not got that. But even that works really well. So for everyone that's listening, have you made videos or have you marketed yourself without you in videos? Tell us more about that and what your challenges are below in the comments. As always, all our social links are down in the description. Make sure you follow so you catch all our future episodes. Next week, we're going to be having a special guest and answering more of your questions. Until next time, see ya.
Bye.